Hello and welcome to the International Mediation Awareness Week podcast. I'm Joanne Law, Regional Coordinator for Australasia. The next IMAW, International Mediation Awareness Week, is on the 7th till the 11th of November 2022. Leading up to that, this podcast will introduce you to regional coordinators, event partners and speakers who'll share with you their insights and passion for mediation. Mediation for every stage of life. Hello, I'm Joanne Law, the Coordinator for International Mediation Awareness Week in Australia and Director of Mediation Institute. And I'm really happy today to be speaking with Oluwatoyin Ololoade. Thank you. And you're the international host for Africa. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
So I guess today really we're having a little bit of a chat about what's going on with mediation in Africa and how you got involved and a little bit about International Mediation Awareness Week. Firstly, can you tell us a little bit about you, where you are and what's your interest in mediation?
I'll start with myself. So as I said, my name is Oluwatoyin Ololoade. I'm a legal practitioner in Lagos, Nigeria. And my interest in mediation, I think I realized that over time, resolving disputes, especially in this part of Africa, Nigeria basically, it takes a longer period. And what we find out is parties always do not come out happy. What I mean by that is there's always still this sense of discord between parties when they go to court, and even arbitration in some instances. So along the line, I stumbled upon mediation, and it became more of a process between parties that enables them to still shake hands after the process, because at the end of the day, there's what we call mediation process as a win-win situation where both parties get to go home, go back happy, because what they've put on the table is more of this is what is beneficial to you, this is what's beneficial to me. And at the end of the day, this is how we are going to move forward with our business relationship. Yeah. Not just business, I'm talking about relationship, I'm talking about relationship with a family, that's family mediation. So, it avails that opportunity. Obviously, if you go to court for divorce proceedings or custody hearings, it's very rare, and I've done quite a few matters in court where both parents are loggerheads because everybody wants to play dirty at some point. But what we find in mediation is everybody's trying to resolve and, okay, it's for the benefit of the child at the end of the day. So why don't you just make peace and move on? So that mediation avails people that opportunity. As for the practice of mediation in Africa, I'm going to specific in Nigeria now, it's not well pronounced. We are still trying to push for companies, individuals to recognize it as a more effective way of resolving disputes. Because what you find mostly in dispute resolution clauses in agreement is arbitration clause or going straight to litigation. It's very rare that you'll find double-faced, double-tier dispute resolution clause in an agreement where you first have to go to mediation before going to arbitration, or you just go to mediation to resolve your dispute.
Yeah, so it's really still very rare to have.
Very rare. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. So I spoke to a friend of mine, one of the speakers from Kenya, a few weeks ago, and she shares the same view. As a matter of fact, she is trying to push it there, and we are hoping that at the end of the day, we're able to get it into the government agencies, recognizing it more. And it's something that can actually push forward eventually as a way of resolving disputes.
Absolutely, and I'm aware of what's happening in Kenya because I've got a partnership, a training partnership with Suluhu Mediation in Kenya. I was speaking with Maina from there recently, and he was saying they had a good start, and then COVID and everything hasn't quite progressed as they'd hoped. There was some legislation coming through and some support for more structure around mediation, and I guess it sounds like what you're hoping to do by aligning aligning with International Mediation Awareness Week is really raise the profile of mediation as, as just the smart first step, or maybe only step needed.
Basically, I think that's the long and short of it, because I believe once you have and recognize that it's a more effective way of resolving dispute through experience, they hear from experienced people that have actually done it and practiced it. And I believe international mediation conference provides that network or that platform to hear different speakers speak about this form, different view, different platforms where they've used mediation to resolve different issues from different sectors.
Yeah, absolutely. And the important point you made with arbitration or with going to court, someone else makes a decision and often both sides are unhappy with it.
Exactly.
But in mediation, it's voluntary. So if you don't agree, if you can't see it as the best option available, then you just don't have to agree. No one can make you in mediation. We talk about empowerment from mediation, and it really is, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
So International Mediation Awareness Week really kicked off last year with people all around the world, yourself included, running some events. What sort of events did you run in Africa last year?
Okay, we didn't get too many events. We ran just a few because the time frame was quite short. Yeah, but the event we ran was basically, we got some speakers from practice. I actually got a speaker from Kenya. Later I mentioned she spoke and basically how mediation will improve practice. I actually got someone to talk about peer mediation, but fortunately it wasn't as I'd hoped.
Yeah.
This year is going to be better because I had a few conversations and I'm trying to set up my committee.
Yeah, last year was the first one, and it was very short amount of time. It was well to get any up at all. So you're having conversations now, and for those that are listening who may not see the date stamp, we're talking in March of 2022. It's early days, so the International Mediation Awareness Week is in November, but now's the opportunity. And this year, I think we're all really looking at partnering with organisations that support mediation or maybe use mediation to really showcase what they're doing. And are those the sorts of conversations you're having at the moment?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, I've been talking to a few organizations. I'm hoping we'll eventually partner with the International Mediation Awareness Week because we have an early start.
Yes.
And I'm trying to take advantage of it as much as I can. And being that I'm also trying to explore other countries, I'm also trying to get Cote d'Ivoire involved. I have a friend I met some time back, so I'm also trying to get them on board and also try to get some organizations in Cote d'Ivoire also on board.
Yeah,
I can say that I've kicked off the process. I spoke to a few organizations here in Nigeria, and they requested for some information with some. But basically, I can say that the process has started and looking at it more in November when it comes to Africa, definitely.
It's going to be very exciting. For people listening, if you are in Africa or you have connections there, they can go to the International Mediation Awareness Week website. So that's imaw.org. And there's a get involved area. And if they click on that, there's a form. And basically, they'll be able to say how they want to be involved. And it's just an expression of interest, like it's not a commitment. And then that information will be sent to you and you'll be able to have a conversation with them and look at how they want to be involved. So they can be partners and provide some financial support and help to organise events, or they might be volunteers that help you in back of scene, or just be, I suppose, just letting people know that it's on. So there's all sorts of ways people can be involved. It's really up to you, isn't it?
To add to that, I would also like to say that people from other African countries should please reach out if they can hear this. And the reason is that the aim, basically, I think one of the key things the International Mediation Week is trying to emphasize is promote mediation globally. Yeah. And that's why hoping that we can push that in African countries. So I'm asking that it might not be about money, like you said. It might just be voluntary. Yeah. And telling people. So the aim is to have in each African country more broader spectrum where mediation is really recognized and utilized in as a way of resolving disputes. So please, if you hear this, let's just have that conversation to see how we can push this forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beauty is with the model, because where organisations can support financially, that's what keeps the whole program free for people attending. And last year, globally, about 40% of the people were not mediators. They were from other areas, and we want to increase that to at least 50% of the participants, because it's really about getting an understanding of mediation, how it's used, how it benefits people out there, isn't it?
That's it, basic. Like you said, they are the end users, basic, not the mediators. Yes, it's good to get the process of mediation out there to the mediators. But for, like in Nigeria, basically, it's for people to first appreciate the mediation process before we talk about empowering the mediators on what the right process is. But the parties need to first appreciate, be ready to resolve their dispute through mediation. So accepting to be on the mediation process and willing that, okay, recognizing the benefits of mediation process is also that, like you said, it's a win-win. They can easily say that, okay, I'm no longer interested. But I'm trying to get that mindset that it's probably the best option for you, really, on the long run.
Absolutely. And that's, if people aren't aware of it, they might feel,
Exactly.
I'm not sure, I don't know, like I know the court, that's what everyone does, so maybe I won't. Yeah. And very much the whole point of the Mediation Awareness Week is to let people know, hey, this is, and it's safe because it's confidential, it's private, and if you can't reach an agreement, and most mediations do reach agreement or shortly after, but even if you can't, there's nothing lost. It can't be used against you. And that's an important thing, I think.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, really. There's this confidentiality that comes with it. So it's not the case that I want to go to court using the things that was said at the meeting against you. So that's the beauty of it, really.
Absolutely. So you can really get creative and really try and find a solution without being frightened of it being used against you, because the court, they shouldn't be able to use offers made in mediation that weren't agreed to. If it's agreed to, then you can make it into, either shake hands on it or make it into a contract, depending on the situation. So no, look, that's fabulous. And I guess the reason we're doing this podcast is to just help spread the word out for anyone that's using social media. There's an International Mediation Awareness Week on LinkedIn and on Facebook and Twitter and maybe other places, I don't know, don't go there, but look for it and follow, and that'll let you know what's coming up, what's going on as well. I guess it's being part of a big international conversation, which is really exciting as well.
I'm not sure I follow them on Twitter, so maybe you might have to send me the link or the name on Twitter later.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm not a big Twitter fan.
No, me
I barely open it. I think I open it once a week.
Yeah.
Unlike my LinkedIn page where I do that every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I think we all tend to have a favoured type of social media. And I guess that's whichever one you or other listeners use, that's the one. And a great way to support it is just to follow and share and let us know any mediators, if things that are happening, or you can share those as well and help to encourage spreading the word. You probably can't give us the inside scoop on who you're going to have this year yet, because you're still having conversations, but I'm sure we'll hear about them.
So basically, I'm looking at, like I said, I spoke to Warima from Kenya, and we're looking at judicial officers. We're also looking at private practitioners, looking at directors in government agencies. So that's up the top of my head right now, but we are trying to focus on the relevant sectors of each economy. Now, I do not want to generalize it, and the reason is that each country has its own issues and has its own most common disputes. Because that's what we are trying to focus on. At the end of the day, I'm trying to focus on the most common peculiar disputes for each country, so that we can get speakers that can talk about how resolving that dispute with mediation can help them majorly as a way of building their economy, because that's the one thing people want to hear. For me, why is this process? How is it beneficial to me? What will I gain if I adopt this process? And I think that's what's going to draw them close. Yeah. So if I start talking about an issue here in Nigeria that ordinarily does not affect them in Kenya, Zimbabwe, it's more of a wasted effort. But the key thing is we're definitely looking at judicial officers, government directors of government agencies, representatives from different organizations.
Yeah. Oh, look, and that makes a lot of sense, because Africa is not a country, it's a continent, and you've got so many different and varied countries. In fact, you've got I'd say from everyone in the world, you've got the hardest job, because it is such a large continent with so many different countries. But yeah, if you're focusing on really looking at what mediation is and how it benefits, and with some examples from various places, that's I'm sure going to inspire people to think, oh wow, maybe we could look at doing something like that, and I suppose make the opportunities for connections as well. And some of the things we do are mock mediations, so you might find some mediators are willing to put themselves out there and do demonstration mediations and discussions, and lots of networking and meeting opportunities to meet in small groups and talk as well.
So that's really a good one. The mock mediations, we're trying to look at it from a step-by-step process. The first thing is to outline what we want to discuss and get our speakers, and then now focus on how we want to get, like I said, trying to identify the issues in different countries, disputes. So that way, that will guide the mock mediations that we'll go into. Because I can just say, okay, I want to do family mediation in a country like Nigeria. It's very rare for you to find family mediation. The reason is, especially in the north, they have this perspective that family issues are dealt with in the family. So it's something that it's not so recognizable, but it's still used. But it's very rare for you to bring up family issues as a way of using mediation to resolve family issues, especially when it comes to custody of children and all that. It's also good, but it's not a major concern. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not a major concern. So
it sounds like it's not very common to bring an independent
Exactly.
person.
Do you understand? So
it'll be like an uncle or someone like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Family member to resolve this. They will tell you that in Africa, don't bring in a third party to resolve your disputes, to resolve your issues. Always resolve it within the family.
Yeah.
So it's very, very rare for you to find a mediation process where families are involved. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. So I'm just saying that based on culture.
Yeah, it's not. And look, sometimes that can work really well, but sometimes it can result in coercion
Exactly. So you just find both parties at loggerheads, and really when I've trust me, some couples can be physical when it comes to resolving disputes, and so it's not really a good atmosphere for the mediation process.
Maybe someone listening to this might be in another part of Africa, may have a program or be doing some work, and they need to contact you and say, hey, I'd like to do a presentation about what we're doing here. And that could be
see my hands are open to welcome everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, that's the whole point of this program, the International Mediation Awareness Week, and all of the, I suppose, the noise that we're intending to make leading up to that, so that mediators can connect, and people interested in mediation, people in government departments, or as you said, in senior roles that are seeing problems and thinking, what can we do about them, may not have even thought of mediation as an option. So this will be a chance for them to think, oh, okay, how would that work, and maybe see some examples from the presenters. And this year, I know in Australia we're going to be trying to theme the days so that people are interested in a particular type of thing, there might be several examples and from in that particular area as much.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe I might even invite you to come and speak at one of the events before. No, I think I discussed it with you some time ago, and so maybe I'll take you up on that eventually.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm just aware of time. So are there any final words that you'd like to share, or anything for our listeners?
Okay, basically, for me, mediation is the way to go, and probably that you reach out for everyone in Africa, everyone in the world, reach out to various coordinators, because the most important thing is to atmosphere and an economy where everybody can do business peacefully, everybody can live, amongst themselves at work, at the workplace, in the family, basically. And mediation gives you that opportunity, because one thing is sure, one thing is certain, there's always going to be issues, there's always going to be disputes.
Yeah.
What, how, and where or process of resolving that dispute is what you should be looking at. And I believe that mediation is probably the safest route for some transactions, and most transactions, basically. It doesn't have to be local. It can be international. I think during this Ukraine crisis, there was a time when they were talking about resolving a dispute using mediation as an assistant. So it's that's to show the effective way of how effective mediation is. And of course, there's also need for the companies to sponsor, so that we can always make this International Mediation Week free, because it's also important that we keep this thing going for several years and make that awareness globally.
Yeah.
So that's it for me.
Absolutely. Fabulous last words. And if you are thinking about sponsoring, there's lots of recognition for your organisation. Get in touch, and it'd be great to partner with you to help showcase this really important way of helping people, one, avoid the costs of legal disputes, and even more importantly, violence and those other things that can result if people are in conflict and can't get a resolution. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know you had to get up early, and I really appreciate that. It's been fabulous talking with you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, I was just thinking at the back of my head the earlier time I chose.
I hope you enjoyed hearing from Oluwatoyin. I'm sorry that the sound wasn't as clear as it could have been in places. Please visit the International Mediation Awareness Week website, imaw.org, and support us in any way you can. Thank you.